Okay, welcome back. And now we are learning the rules for the superlative. What you see over here is a chart that synthesizes the rules of them. When the adjectives are one syllable, then we are adding est. And also the particle the tallest, the cheapest, the fastest, and the coldest. And it is possible that we have one syllable adjectives ending in E, but the E is usually silent. Then we are adding only the ST. Safe, the safest. Wide, the widest. Nice, the nicest. Late, the latest. And as we saw in the rules for the comparatives, we have one syllable adjectives ending in consonant, vowel, consonant, and it is important to double the last consonant, and then we add the est. In this case, we have big, the biggest, hot, the hottest, wet, the wettest, and new, the newest. We also have, the same as we saw in the comparative, one or two syllable adjectives, but ending in wide. In this case, we remove the wide and we change it by IEST. Early, the earliest. Happy, the happiest. Crazy, the craziest. And dry, the driest. And when we have long adjectives, we are using another particle, and the particle is the most. In the case of the superlative, remember that in the case of the comparative, we are using more. More ancient, the most ancient. More dazzling, the most dazzling. More beautiful, the most beautiful. More unpleasing, the most unpleasing. More crowded, the most crowded. More expensive, the most expensive. More dangerous, the most dangerous. You see? Don't forget that we have irregular forms as well. And you see over here some of the examples. We have bad, the comparative is worst, and the superlative is the worst. Far, in terms of distance, is farther, and in the case of the superlative is the farthest. Far related to extension is further in comparative and the farthest in the superlative. Good, better, and the best in the superlative. Ill, worse in the comparative, the worst in the superlative. Late, later in the comparative, the latest or last in the superlative. Less, lesser, least, the least in the superlative. Little regarding amount, less in the comparative, the least in the superlative. Many, more in the comparative, the most in the superlative. Much, more in the comparative, and the most in the superlative. You see, it is important that you study and practice these spelling rules, and don't forget the use. When I describe one thing, I use adjectives. When I describe two things same time, comparatives, and when I describe three things or more in the same time, I use the superlative form. Okay? Well, practice in your lesson. Remember, we are working in the unit 4 and the student's book and the workbook. And then the next video is to finish with the objectives of the lesson. Thanks a lot.